Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Unstoppable. And that is because a rare thing is happening in the heavens right now, and it is that there are three malefic planets, Saturn, Mars, and Uranus, and they are all trining each other, which is very unusual. That means that they're all in the same element, the fire element, and so their energy is flowing unrestricted in a way that can make somebody very unstoppable this week, because there are 5 planets in the fire signs right now. And that is because Mars and Venus have moved out of Pisces, and now they're in the sign of Aries, and they're joining Uranus right there. Mars and Uranus are malefic planets. And those 3 planets are trining Saturn in Sagittarius, which is the other malefic planet, and they are also trining Jupiter in Leo. So this simply can make somebody rather unstoppable. It might be somebody with evil intent, or someone who's bent on destruction, because those malefic planets can really cause a lot of trouble, well, particularly if they're all trining each other. And so this is a week when you could be observing somebody or something that is absolutely unstoppable. Now, does that mean that they would be totally victorious no matter what they did, even if they did have evil intent? No, but it does mean that somebody can begin something new. Remember that Venus, Mars, and Uranus are all in Aries, the sign of new beginnings. And Venus rules partnership and contracts and the law and compromise, but it's in there with Mars, which can rule war and destruction and jealousy and greed and envy, and certainly it rules aggression. And Mars is the ruler of Aries. That's the really strong planet in Aries right now. And then Uranus rules sudden, surprising change, and it can rule rebellion, and it can rule eccentricity and freedom, and simply wanting to do things your way, particularly as it regards a new start. I mean, since all of these 3 planets are in Aries. And they are being backed up now by a resolute Saturn in Sagittarius, and also by, as I said, Jupiter in Leo. But that Jupiter is retrograde right now, or going backward. And so that can indicate that leadership, which is what Leo rules, can be wanting to sort of not be in the mood to go forward as quickly as they ordinarily would, and so they may sort of sit something out or miss a chance at something right now. But nevertheless, those planets in Aries and in Sagittarius are trining that. So I mean, that grand trine in fire signs has half of all the planets up there, 5 of them in good aspect to each other, but 3 of them are really malefic planets. So if somebody really wants to get something started and they want to really push at it and they have evil intent, they probably are going to succeed right now, but they would not succeed later on. And that would be due to either confusion or to some sort of indecision. And there's another reason why they may not succeed, and that is because the 3 planets in Aries, Venus, Mars, and Uranus, are being strongly challenged by Pluto in Capricorn, which is squaring them all. And Pluto in Capricorn represents authority figures who can be relentless in insisting that things are done sort of according to the rule book. But there are 3 planets in Aries, and so that Pluto in Capricorn is sort of taking a beating right now, but it is relentless and it's not giving up, and Pluto is the planet of deep truth. And that deep truth can be insisting that we have got to follow rules and regulations and procedures for the good of mankind or for civilization. And so that is up against people who don't mind anarchy or want to be very rebellious or just want to do things their own way right now. And so they could succeed. But you see, there's something else going on there. Mars is now in Aries. It's squaring Pluto. Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio. Scorpio rules financing. It's a fixed financial sign. It rules money coming in from any other source. And so an unstoppable new beginning may certainly succeed right now. But, you know, in the cold light of dawn, the morning after, when somebody's scratching their heads and is saying, now how are we going to pay for it, the money is not going to be there. And that is why it could sort of fizzle out as well. However, there are some outcomes to all of this right now. What could they be? Well, for one thing, since Venus is in Aries, it simply means there could be some mergers right now. And the mergers could be among people who are enemies, but they can seem to be friends right now because they might decide to join up. And if they merge, then they would be unstoppable. So that might happen. At the same time, because Mars is getting closer and closer to Uranus, and Mars rules war, and Uranus rules sudden change, and it does rule cyberspace, it rules the whole electronics field and computers and the internet. It simply means that there could be cyber warfare right now, or coming right up, and it could be deadly and disabling. And so that would make somebody pretty unstoppable, wouldn't it? So those are two very possible outcomes right now from people who think they are going to be unstoppable and really go for something right now. Another thing, though, that could stop them or at least slow them down is indecision or confusion brought about by the fact that the Sun and Neptune in Pisces are squaring the Moon in Gemini right now. When the Sun and the Moon square or oppose each other, that always leads to confusion or indecision. And so if there was cyber warfare, if there was a merging of evil forces that can join forces and then become unstoppable, it would be a lot to take in right now. And so people would sort of have to make a lot of adjustments. The ones who would be the most successful at that would be young people, because that Moon in Gemini is trining Mercury, Gemini's own ruler, in Aquarius, the sign of the future. So if young people or somebody who is quick on their feet or is very good at communicating could suddenly turn around and begin to communicate in a new way with people, that could sort of help save the day. And their reaction could be lightning fast to something that was appearing to be unstoppable. And we all know that when lightning strikes, it can rip something apart and really crack something open. And that might happen. So when I say that somebody is unstoppable right now, I think they will be, but it doesn't mean they'll continue to be, either because of confusion and indecision, because they run out of money or can't get financing, or because somebody is one step ahead of them even. That could happen as well. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, I think you're unstoppable right now, and that is because your sign is absolutely loaded. And the reason why you might be unstoppable is because you know you've got good friends that you can count on, or you may be deciding to take a trip right now, or even go back to school, and you could count on that too, because you know maybe there is something that you've got to brush up on right now, and you could do that. But the reason you're unstoppable is because there's so many energetic planets in your sign. Venus, Mars, your own ruler, and Uranus are there. And there are two planets right behind your sun sign, Aries, and they are the Sun and Neptune in Pisces. So the reason why you might be trying to be unstoppable and sort of be on some sort of quick move or take some fast action right now is because you may want to escape something that is being now revealed, a secret of yours, or you may be trying to escape some sort of retribution or punishment. Or it can be that you just want to get away from some sort of relationship right now, and so you could be unstoppable in your efforts to zoom forward, which I think you're going to be successful at. It may not be forever though, Aries, so before you really decide to launch something, I hope you've got some end goal in mind, and I hope you've got some money to afford a new start. You really are well aspected to succeed at a new start. You shouldn't stay where you are. It doesn't mean that you change everything in your life, but something really needs changing, Aries, and now is the time for you to really get on it and do it. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is simply a time when I think you are very, very busy behind the scenes. And that is because there are 5 planets right behind your sun sign. The Sun and Neptune in Pisces are right behind your sun sign. And even closer are Venus, Mars, and Uranus in Aries. And so in the background of your life, you're very, very busy. And in fact, somebody can be driving you to distraction right now. It could be a little bit irritating for you, Taurus. It may involve somebody else who's in a big hurry, or somebody else who figures that they're unstoppable, but they need your help in one way or in the other, and they could sort of be pushing your buttons right now, Taurus. You would not necessarily like that, but you may have a reason to go along with it. Maybe you're involved with some other activity that you love, or even some other person that you love, and so you could be really, really busy. You need to sort of slow down right now, though, Taurus, because your sign is squaring Jupiter in Leo and Mercury in Aquarius, and that means your plans for the future are a little iffy right now. They're not all spelled out and clear, and so I think you need to slow down because you can be a little confused or unsure right now about what your final destination is if you move real quickly, and also whether you can afford it. The other thing is that you need to watch your heart and your back and your blood supply, because you could be overdoing it because you're so busy, and that could put a strain on them that could end up being somewhat expensive. And also a health problem would detain you now right when somebody else is urging you to sort of hurry up. So I think you're caught between a rock and a hard place right now, Taurus, but it's all in the background of your life. And that's why not a lot of people know about it or can see it, but I hope you get some rest pretty soon. What does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, it's very good for you that the moon is in your sign, and that is because it is being trined by Mercury in Aquarius, and Mercury is your own ruler. So it's you, Gemini, that can be pretty fast on your feet, not in an unstoppable, energetic, aggressive way, but simply if you meet somebody that is unstoppable and they come in and decide to really make a lot of changes, you could be able to go along with that in one way or another and adjust or adapt to changing conditions right now, because you're good at that. Also, because your ruler is trining your sun sign, you could even be one step ahead and react in a lightning fast way to something right now. And that could sort of rip something apart or crack something open, and that would reveal much more truth about things as well. So I don't think that you're going to necessarily be hurt. If anything, someone could ask you to join them in a very quick or fast-paced endeavor. But at the same time, they may think that you need a little extra training, and that is because Saturn in Sagittarius is opposing your sun sign, and Saturn is opposing the moon. That means parents are not seeing eye to eye right now either, but that can smooth out eventually. So good luck. I think you're going to sort of land on your feet, but you're going to probably be doing something new as well. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, a Cancer, I think that there is somebody, either a person or a couple or a group or even some entity like a business or even a country that can be deciding that they are unstoppable, and they decide to really make their move, and they don't care who stands in their way because they're real sure they'll be successful, and they might be right now. And if they have evil intent or they want to destroy something, they probably will be able to do it, or initiate cyber warfare in one way or another. You would not like that at all, Cancer, because the 3 planets in Aries do square your sun, and Pluto, which is taking a beating right now, is opposing your sun sign. I do not think that you can counteract the jarring upset that may be occurring this week. I'm not so sure it's occurring to you, but if it is close to home, Cancer, I do not suggest that you fight back. I think that you need to step back instead, rather than encountering such force. Let it burn itself out. Remember, whoever is figuring that they are unstoppable, they will succeed at a first strike, but they are not necessarily going to succeed at anything else. And so what you need to do is protect yourself, Cancer, right now, while there is some sort of possibility of an attack. And remember that Cancer rules the United States and Canada. And so we're going to have to be real careful and think about what our next move is before we make it, particularly you, Cancer. In the meantime, I would be extra protective and really watch your safety this week, and try not to argue with anyone else. They could sort of beat you down right now simply because they're so convinced of their own force, but it could burn out. So I would wait and see if I were you. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you can be supercharged, and even if you're not feeling like moving forward in a quick way right now because Jupiter is retrograde in your sign, that almost doesn't matter, because Saturn in Sagittarius is trining your sign, which means somebody who is resolute and staunchly in your corner and maybe older and wiser is certainly in favor of whatever you want to do. Even if you have doubts about it, they'll be there to back you up. And the 3 planets in Aries are trining your sun. And that simply means, Leo, that somebody else could sort of want you to really jump on their bandwagon and help them out. But will it help you out, Leo? That's what you need to slow down and think about. And so this is not a time for you to jump in at the deep end of the pool, because you do not know what the outcome will be of somebody or something that starts very, very quickly. And that's why I think you do need to think about it before you go any further. Excuse me. In doing something, or in, excuse me, or in agreeing to something. So try not to agree too quickly to something, Leo, because excuse me, it might get you in trouble. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? I'm sorry about that. I lost my voice for a minute. Virgo, what it means for you is that you're a little bit out of danger right now. And the reason why is that Mars is no longer in Pisces. It has moved on, and so have Venus. And now only the Sun and Neptune are opposing your sun sign. And that means that somebody who may have been causing problems for you, Virgo, has moved on, and they have gathered strength, and they are even more convinced that they're right on something, and so they are going to aggressively press forward, but not toward you. And so that's good. That simply means that you're getting a little bit of a breather right now, Virgo, which is nice. You could use it. And still, if you are thinking of making any kind of new beginning yourself, I would say that the people who would be backing you up, which are upper management, are taking a beating themselves right now, because Pluto in Capricorn is still trining your sun, but it is being sorely squared by all the planets in Aries right now. So I think some sort of advancement or promotion might be temporarily on hold for you. Also, the moon in Gemini is squaring your sun, and that simply means that not everyone is agreeing with your ideas about facts and figures and procedures. Some people just sort of want to do whatever they want, even if it's only short term. You're not really a temporary person, Virgo. You're a person that really likes to get things right and sort of stick with them, and even perfect them and make them better. So I don't think a lot of people are exactly listening to your voice of reason right now, and that's all right, Virgo. You can still withdraw and think a little bit more about making plans for yourself and asking yourself what makes you happy. You don't need to have other people making you happy all the time. You can instead concentrate on solving a few of your own problems, even if they're just little ones, and that, I think, would make you happy. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is simply a time when I think that you will be sorely challenged. And the reason why you'll be sorely challenged is because Venus, your own ruler, Mars and Uranus are all opposing your sun sign. that's a little bit too much to handle right now. And so you need to stay away from people who think they're unstoppable or want to be aggressive or want to dominate you. And because that isn't what you would like. Yours is a sign that does like to go along and keep the peace and make everybody happy. But there are people around right now that are not interested in peace at all. And that is why you sort of need to withdraw right now, Libra, and stay on sort of your own side of the fence. Don't respond to aggressive people right now. Try to fade into the background if you can, because actually you do have some support, Libra. The moon in Gemini is trining your sun, and Mercury in Aquarius is also trining your sun. So if you can stay around your casual friends who can be talking about plans for their future, you would be very happy with that, with something that is a little lighter weight. And try to avoid anybody who's coming down too hard on you, because they really don't have your best interests in mind at all. And don't be a doormat either. Just get around people who are a little bit nicer right now. Even if they're just casual friends, they would make you happy. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when the strength is in the fire signs. And so it's going to happen. Something's going to happen real fast. It may not necessarily be good. It might have a bad or destructive end. And I think for right now, you might know a little bit more about what's behind it all than other people realize. And that is because the Sun and Neptune in Pisces are trining your Sun, which is wonderful. So behind the scenes, you could have a pretty good idea of what's really going on and who is really behind some sort of destruction or some evil people with evil intent. But I don't think you can stop what's going on right now, Scorpio. And so the best thing for you is simply to sort of keep your feelers out and keep alert and watch what is going on. Do extra research if you want, because your sign rules research. But I would say nothing this week right now, Scorpio, and that is because the dust has to settle, or the fire has to burn itself out first. And then you can decide what you want to do about it, because your sign does rule justice. If you give yourself a little bit more time, you will be finding out much more truth. And it is the truth that's going to win in the end anyway. And besides, your rulers, Mars and Pluto, are not well aspected right now. So nobody's going to get any extra money out of anything they do right now. And that's why if I were you, I'd be real quiet and stay in the background. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is simply a time when I think that you could be swept up in some sort of new beginning, but you better watch out that it's the right new beginning, Sagittarius, because the 3 planets in Aries are trining your sun, and so is Jupiter in Leo. So you could walk right into some sort of nest of iniquity or trouble, and that is why you need to decide what comes next or what comes afterwards before you decide to back the wrong horse, Sagittarius, which it is possible for you to do right now. That's why you need to use a little bit of caution. And if you think you're missing a good opportunity right now, I would say don't worry about it. There's no money to fund it anyway at this time, so you may get a second chance later on. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, I think that with Pluto in your sign and those 3 planets at Aries squaring it, that you can be feeling as if people who want to do everything their own way are simply demanding that you sort of get out of the picture and let them do it. You're not going to do that, Capricorn. I mean, you really do believe in following the letter of the law or rules and regulations and not skipping steps. But I think that these people feel they're unstoppable right now. And so the only question is, do you go or do you stay? And that is because if you can't put up with what they're pulling right now, and you don't have the patience to wait until it abates, then perhaps you should move on yourself. You'll have to decide. I would advise you just to wait a while, because they're not going to succeed in the end. They're only succeeding initially, and that is because there is no funding, and you wouldn't give them $1 of your money either, Capricorn, and neither will anyone else. So you might wait it out. That might be a better idea. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, This is simply a time with Mercury in your sign, trining that moon in Gemini, when you can come up with some pretty quick answers, and you might need to. You might also be able to start some short-term project right now, or something that seems sort of temporary, but it could turn out to have a much longer duration and be more successful than it looks. And so if I were you, I would go in a direction that doesn't look as if it's permanent, but that can be very enticing right now, and it could open up new doors for you. Your ruler, Uranus, is coming under duress right now because Mars is getting closer and closer to it, and Mars is the dominant planet in Aries. And so you better watch out for some sort of sudden disruption or sudden change, because it could happen to you, Aquarius. You would be able to find people to help you out, though, almost with lightning speed, which is good. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when you can see something right in front of you that you almost can't believe, because it'll involve people who think that they are unstoppable. They can be aggressive. There can be some sort of dynamic new start that gets off the ground, but it also might land with a thud rather soon, because there isn't going to be enough money to pay for it. So Pisces, for right now, I think you should stay in your own dream world and sort of let the rest of the world pass you by, because none of us is sure how this is going to end up. I'm just pretty sure that there's somebody or something that's going to be unstoppable this week, but they're only going to be unstoppable at the start, certainly not at the end. So we must all have a little patience right now. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.